What unexpectedly turned you on? When it comes to that woman you're feeling, anything she does is such a turn on. Just me personally, but man, women are just great all around. A pre-med student explaining to me the anatomy of the nasal conchae while touching my face. Bite my earlobe. It was great until my cat apparently figured it out, and now it's how she wakes me up. One day at work we had a day when we needed to dress business smart. Usually we dress very casually, and my coworker, who usually dresses in baggy shirts and jeans, wore a full-fitted suit, and oh man, I don't know what it is, but something about the just woke up look really gets me, like messy hair and loose pajamas. Shit's my kryptonite. Was in bed with my girlfriend and the remote was at the end of the bed. I sit up and basically lazily reach for it on all fours. I'm in some boxer briefs that have a pouch-like thing for your junk, so when I bent over, my ball bulge was pretty much in her face. She just playfully punched me in the balls and it hurt and stung, but I almost instantly got hard. I'm now laying on my back holding my balls in protection. She can see the outline of my obvious boner though and starts laughing confusedly. She volunteered to blow me as an apology, and since I was already hard, I asked her to tap my balls a little throughout, and I nutted harder than ever. Basically now all of our foreplay commences with light ball busting. Cock and ball torture. Stirring. Like stirring around batter or something in a big mixing bowl. Don't know why. Don't know how to describe it. The motion. Or maybe when the spoon scrapes against the bowl. No clue. I really like having my knees rubbed. I could have an orgasm over it. I'm a woman, for anyone curious. Nothing gets me hot like a nice wibbly wobbly pair o' knees. A girl I was friends with had apparently been giving me hints for a while that I hadn't been picking up on. One time we are hanging out and she goes to take a pee. She yells at me from the bathroom to come here. I walk up to the door and ask her what she needs. With no hesitation she says, "Come in here. I want you to watch me pee." Unexpected turn on for some reason. That scene in GoldenEye where Xenia Onatopp squeezes that guy to death awoke something in me at a very young age. Brief eye contact with my tattoo artist while he was tattooing me. Also, I didn't think this needed to be said, but obviously the needle wasn't touching my skin at that moment. Lol, no worries yow. All the tattoos he's done for me have been great. I would be nervous that he wasn't looking at the tattoo. When I was a kid, I saw Mona Lisa from my Gamma school art book. The first time I saw her, with hands on her knee, how do I say this? I had a boner. A couple years back, my girlfriend at the time and I used to have sex while Pandora played. Every once in a while a car insurance commercial would play in the middle of songs. We laughed it off, but it didn't distract us from doing the deed. Fast forward a couple years forward and I hear that same car insurance commercial. Instant erection. This guy the first was seeing called customer service to get a company error corrected. He used the softest, firmest, most understanding tone I've ever heard and I lost my damn mind. Coming down off a DMT trip, and there is no easy way to say this, I masturbated thinking about my bedroom door. Older women who give off dom mommy vibes. Once had an older woman with that short silver fox haircut and a stronger jaw call me a good girl while I was at work because I did something right with her order that nobody else could for some reason. I'm a relatively straight female. Or am I? Well, I don't know. My fiance makes this sound when he's turned on by something I'm doing or that he's looking at on me, but it can be a problem sometimes because he sometimes uses the same sound when he sees like an ad for food that looks really good. A friend told me she had a being choked fetish while we were Black Friday shopping, so, obviously, I jokingly choked her in the middle of a crowded Target. Almost nutting at 11:27 p.m. in the middle of a Target is how I discovered I like choking. I am female, still like choking people. Scaring people at my haunted house job. Boo. RUNNRGHHH. I was in Japan and had a crush on a woman from South France. Returned to the US. In line for fast food. And I hear a woman behind me speaking with a southern French accent. Popped a boner in line for a slice of pizza. So when I was in my early teens and just discovering sex, I decided that since I was a bit of an artist, I could draw porn for myself. I started with a vag and that was all well and good. But then I decided to try a dick and suddenly sproing. I was not expecting that in the slightest. Paint me like one of your repressed tendencies. An ex-boyfriend lecturing me about money. I don't think it was the context. Just the way he did it. Like a stern father. He did a lot of things in a stern, disapproving bad way and I don't know it was hot. I guess this means I have daddy issues, I don't know. In modern times it seems like daddy issues, but it basically is your brain saying he sounds like a dad when he does this. He would make a good dad. I should make him a dad. I should mate with him. Or something along those lines. I wouldn't worry about. When I worked in a pharmacy as a stocker, once I spilled some of that warming lube on myself as a bottle had cracked open in transit and why did I get turned on? It's unexplainable. But it happened. I bought some after I clocked out. Hung out minigolfing with a group of friends. Our resident goof was being her typical self. Kinda ditzy and along for the ride but not very skilled. Just sorta aloof. Also she's into me. But it's unfortunately not mutual. We all went to play pool as a last-minute decision. And as it turns out, her aunt has a pool table in her house and she's been playing for ages every week. She snapped instantly into an extremely unusual focus and level of skill. The pool cue was an extension of the body that she was moving across, on, and around the table, like it was a sophisticated dance that nobody knew better than her. I have never been more aroused by that woman than I was that night. Ever since. It's been the same group dynamic. She's been the same person that I'm platonically friends with. I'll never forget how she woke something up in me that night though, or how weird it was. I accidentally Pavloved myself. There used to be this porn I watched with two chicks in it that had no audio other than music by Disturbed. Years later Disturbed came on the radio, I instantly got turned on. Was so confused for like 10 seconds. Oh wah ah ah ah. Once my boyfriend and I were cooking dinner together and halfway through it was ruined because he hadn't kept his eye on the hot pan. It was one of the first times he had tried to cook something somewhat fancy for me. Plus it was late and we were both hungry and tired. Normally he's very kind and gentle but he got super frustrated and slammed his hand against the wall, swearing. It was startling and at first, I was a bit scared, then I got super turned on by it. First off, I'm a guy, so my high school had a darkroom for a black and white film photography program. I was the only boy in the course. There were about 10 to 15 girls in the class. I was pretty good, and by my junior year, I had been involved in the program longer than any other student. Having so much experience led to me being a good place to go for advice on printing their photos. I would go to their station to figure things out, and the same 3 friends of mine that were girls in that class would come up behind me and rest their chin on my right shoulder, and that would always wake me up. I never expected something like that to send goosebumps up and down my body, and warrant a reaction downstairs. But it happened, and I took it in stride from then on. Late to the party but whatever. Being in my tent. I don't even know. When I'm camping and I retire to my tent, slip into my sleeping bag and zip up the little tent door. I have no idea but apparently that really does it for me. What a strangely pure fetish lol. When my sir jokingly bit my butt, I was lying naked on the bed after a shower and he straight up bit my butt cheek as a joke and dang, it did things. My, at the time fiancé, was in school to be an engineer. Meanwhile, I was struggling to get through algebra. She sat down with me and began to explain the logic behind the equations I was using. The more she talked, the wetter I became. Finally, I couldn't ignore my primal instinct any longer and I had her right there on the kitchen table. It ended up happening almost every time she tried to talk math to me from then on. My girlfriend, when she picked up a knife, didn't expect that one. To be clear, it was a normal butter knife and we were at dinner. She just happened to lick something off the blade and suddenly I was pitching a tent. She in no way was attempting to murder me. Physical therapy. A no bullshit Indian lady is working on my neck. I start to droop my head. She unceremoniously yanks me back into position. Keep your head up. Damn. Yes, mistress. When my husband looks back when he's backing in the car. The flatbread at Subway suddenly seemed very sensual and seemed to have a skin-like texture. It quickly passed and was replaced with WTF. Hey, a lot of people have a sub-kink. Admittedly, a tad different from yours usually. The first time I used a riding lawnmower when I was like 12, all the vibrating gave me a raging hard-on. To this day whenever I use one to mow I get at least half a stock. When I was a freshman in college, an English boy in one of my classes said the phrase war of attrition with his English accent and I had to go take a breather. Shame that there's a lot of British accents that makes us sound like we are having a stroke. When I was at the airport and had like 20,000 Norwegian kroner in cash and wanted to exchange it to euro, took me a long time to count, but this bank woman at the airport just took my money. It did some magic with her fingers that went so fast I couldn't believe it, and she knew within seconds how much money I gave her. But more than that, the whole way she acted with the whole transaction was so unbelievable professional. I have never experienced anything like that level of professionalism in my entire life. How could I not be turned on by the most pro woman I have ever seen? The fact that the guy the first likes to be insulted. You like that, you retard.